Hello, are you here to debate?
Yeah, I'm here to debate.
Okay, what's your name, age, and pronouns?
My name's Steven. I'm 23 and I'm a man.
Okay, Steven. So, what are you here to debate about?
Anything you want to debate about? I mean, pretty much everything I'd seen on your board, I didn't agree with. But for one, if you want to start with one specific, let's say that the God of the Bible is evil. Why would you say the God of the Bible is evil?
Because the actions he takes are evil by his own metrics of what evil is.
Okay, well, be specific. Because what I would want to tell you is that through an atheistic point of view, without there being any God, then there is no morality, meaning that there's no scale for good or evil.
What do
So
you think?
from someone as being an atheist to say that it's an evil thing, you don't have any scale for morality
What do
because
you think morality
without
is?
without
Like,
well,
what
you
would you
see,
like
you
define
see,
morality
without
for me?
without religion, as in without God, there is no morality because
Okay,
it's constantly changing throughout society and what people believe
okay.
in.
Can you?
And
That
so, for
doesn't
you to
mean there's no
say that,
morality. God also changes
for
his
you to say,
morality, right? God changed between the Old Testament and the New Testament. So morality changes under God too. So morality changing doesn't mean that morality doesn't exist.
see,
Can you
you're saying
define
those things,
morality
but
for
you're
me?
not bringing up any specifics because the Old
I just
Testament
brought up a specific.
completely, the
There were
Old
rules in the
Testament
Old
completely
Testament that don't
points
exist
to
in the New
everything in
Testament.
the New Testament.
That's not true. God,
Well, like I
for
say,
instance,
give
God
me
allowed for
specific
slavery in the
examples.
New Testament. Or, I'm sorry, God allowed for slavery in the Old Testament. He didn't allow for slavery in the New Testament. This is a direct change in his moral system.
Okay, so you're saying he allowed for slavery. When was
Yes,
the time that he allowed for slavery, and it was shown in the story to be a good thing? Because you see, there is slavery in the Bible, but it's never portrayed to be something that is good
it was
or something that
slavery.
is
It was when
just.
he allowed the Israelites to enslave their people in like neighboring countries and make them slaves for life, and then they were slaves that could be passed down to their children. He allowed for the Israelites to make slaves. He didn't allow for anybody else to make slaves, just the
See,
Israelites. He said
see,
it was moral for Israelites to
um,
claim slaves.
see, what people did he allow for the Israelites to make slaves? Because are you
Anybody that
talking
was
about the
anybody in their
Canaanites? Or are you
neighbor
talking about the
anybody in their neighboring
Philistines?
countries. Anybody. He said basically the Israelites could make anybody slaves that they wanted to.
Well, like I say, I would like to see a specific story where what you're saying is that slavery is shown as a good thing because what I would say is
Would you
that
not say
there's
anything
definitely a
allowed by
possibility.
God is good? Would you not agree with that? Anything allowed by God would be good, right?
Well, not anything allowed by God because we live in an unjust world where sin has fallen upon man, and that is explained in the Bible. But it doesn't mean that everything in the world is good. And I
If
think
God
that to
specifically says you can do this, is that not a good thing? If he says
um
verbatim you can do this thing, that would mean it's not an immoral action because it does not go against God's will.
Okay, well, another thing I would tell you, you still haven't
Wait, please
pointed to a
don't.
specific passage or story
Oh,
to where
sure.
it's being shown that
Sure.
slavery is a good thing. But I would also tell
Sure.
you
Hold on.
that in the Old Testament, if you give me a second, there in the Old Testament there are rules for the Jewish people that aren't meant to be followed by the new covenant, which is when Jesus
Yeah.
when Jesus had come, he created a new
No,
covenant.
exactly.
And
Wait, that's
what
exact.
I
You
would
just proved my
say,
point. You just proved my point. God
well,
changed. God's
no,
morality
well, no,
changed. He allowed for
no, you
something in
got
the
to
Old Testament
understand.
that he didn't allow for in the New Testament.
Well, no, so you got to understand, it's things like tattoos, which isn't morally
And
wrong. It's
slavery.
things like different color. Well, let me finish before you say something. It's things like different colored garments that aren't allowed to be touching. And see, these things are to make it to where the Jewish people are completely separate looking from the pagans that lived in the land as them. It's not any moral issue. It's like not eating certain foods. It's following the kosher diet. None of this has anything to do with morality, but it has everything to do with keeping the Jewish people separate from the pagans that were in the
Okay.
land with
What
them. None of what you're
is it?
explaining
Wait, answer me a question.
is
Answer me a question. Is it wrong
okay.
to own another person? Is that
Of
wrong?
course
Yes or
it
no?
is. Of course it
Okay,
is.
then
Like I would explain to you in the Bible,
hold on, why did God allow the Israelites to own people if it is wrong?
well, okay, for one, I would tell you this. The Canaanites were known to be people that would sacrifice their own children, and that's just one example. But they did atrocious things, okay, that are well documented in history of what these people were doing. But what I would say is that whatever God can create, God can take away. And
Can answer my
you
question?
know,
This is
of
just a
course, it is
voice.
not good. It is not good to have slaves, and
Great.
you still haven't shown me a specific example of where shows in a story. God shows in a story that it is a good thing
Great.
to have a slave.
Great.
I
Leviticus
understand that in
25.
stories,
Leviticus
slaves
25. I'm going to give it to you. Leviticus 25, right? Leviticus 25 literally says, and I quote, this is 44, Leviticus 25, verse 44. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clan born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So if you're making the claim that owning people as property is bad, God's not making that claim because he told the Israelites they could own people as property. So is it good or bad to own people as property?
I would say that it's definitely bad. Like I say, with it being in Leviticus, I would need to do more research on what you just said, and I appreciate you giving me a specific example of what I'm talking about. And like I say, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I would say that I would definitely like to do more research and understand the context of that passage. But the whole entire concept of saying that God is good or evil, you got to understand that in an atheistic point of view, there's no such thing as morality. The only thing that describes morality, good or evil from an atheistic point of view is what the consensus is at the time. It's just like
incorrect.
A few hundred.
Wait, okay. So I need to correct some things here because there's some flaws in your logic here. One, your religion, also what dictates good and bad is what is said at the time. Hence why we say slavery is bad now and it's bad in the New Testament, but in the Old Testament it was allowed for because God changed his mind. Right? Something that was bad.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Please.
I disagree with you, and I'm not meaning to constantly interrupt you because obviously we both do need to talk. But see, I disagree with you there because what I would say is the laws that you're describing and showing are things that were meant for the Jewish people before the new covenant. And I know you would think to yourself,
yes,
well, he's basically proving my argument. But what I'm telling you is I'm not, because the reason I'm saying all this is because the Jewish people had different laws that they had to abide by to survive in the land that they were in.
Owning slaves isn't a law. Owning slaves isn't a law. God could have said to the Israelites, you cannot own people. He could have said this, but he didn't. Instead, he said, you can own people. It's just you can only own these people. These specific people you can own. You can't own each other, but you can own these people. You can sell these people. These people become your property. God could have easily said, no, you cannot own people. Owning people is bad, but he didn't. Leviticus 20.
Well,
Leviticus is specifically the rules that God gives to the Israelites.
One of the first things I would look into with what you're saying is the word slave. Are you 100% positive that it would be a word that would be translated into slave and not servant or not worker? Because a lot of these translations that you're saying can be misconstrued to mean one thing and not another thing.
There's a reason why
I'm on my phone talking to you right now, and I don't want to take the time to research the exact passage that you gave me in Leviticus. Anyways,
just to answer your question really quickly, just to answer your question. When it comes to serfdom, there was serfdom back then. The Israelites were serfs. You could have an Israelite be a serf. They weren't property. You didn't own them. They had their own homes and residence they could go back to. They could also own property. That was serfdom. Slavery is when you become property and you are property that you can inherit down to, and your property for life. That's what he claims. That's why it's very specific when it says that not only can they own them, but they can give them to their children as inherited property. They become property for life. Serfdom and slavedom, two different things. We even have evidence that the slaves in ancient Israel, in ancient Egypt, are the slaves that like the Israelites owned were branded. You don't brand somebody who's a serf. You brand property.
Well, you got to understand that the branding thing, you say that, but none of us were there, and none of us know that to be specific. And obviously, it could be different from situation to situation. But like I said, I would say that I know that the good Lord doesn't make mistakes, and I would say that that's not something I can argue. But what I would say is I would really like to do more research on the exact one in Leviticus that you had referenced, and I'd like to see exactly what you're talking about. But at this time, I'd like to rest my argument because I feel as though I don't have enough information to keep
I
on
just
arguing
wanna
that exact topic.
I
But
just want to let you know that God absolutely makes mistakes. It even says in the Bible that he's made mistakes.
well, like I said, I would say give me specific examples, but the
Sure.
whole entire
Genesis,
but
Genesis, Genesis 6 verses 6 through 7. The Lord regretted making human beings on the earth, and his heart was grieved. So the Lord said, I will wipe out from the earth the human beings I have created, and not only the human beings, but also the animals and the crawling things and the birds of the air, for I regret that I made them. Regretting something is admitting that you made a mistake. You can only regret something if you did something that was a mistake. Nobody regrets actions that weren't mistakes. You regret mistakes. And he admitted it was a mistake, and he decided to wipe out all the people and start over from scratch. This isn't Genesis. This is like the very first part.
Yeah,
of the
no,
book.
I'm very familiar with the exact story that you're talking about. What I would say is I know that all sorts of Bible passages are so very easily misconstrued if you're not understanding the exact root of each word and the exact translation. And so I would just say that quite frankly, I just don't have enough information on that to really argue with you like I think that you deserve in that specific topic. But I would say, with anything going on political like that, I'd like to be able to debate with you on anything that you'd like to. Like another instance, you saying that people that support Donald Trump and go to his rallies and that sort of thing are dumb people, and I would say that you definitely don't understand that those people are what keeps this country great and what has kept this country great. And
no, they aren't.
That's definitely a slap in the face. And
no, they are not. Those people are not what make this country great. People whose entire purpose is to hate other people from how they look, how they act, how they think. Those people, bigots, they're not what makes this country great. What makes this country great is the fact that this country is a melting pot of different ideas and cultures throughout the world.
I agree with the melting pot.
That's what makes
my
things
mom
great.
is an immigrant, for instance. My mom is not was not born a citizen of this country, so I 100% agree with you. But what I would say is that when you really look at it from a different lens, the Republicans and the Trump supporters are not the bigots. And what I would say is if you went to your average Kamala supporter and you said, "Hey, I voted for Trump this election," they would act like you're not even allowed to breathe the same air as them and you're just unworthy.
Do you know why?
Versus if you went to do you know why
people
give me
act
about
that way?
Give me about 30 seconds before you interrupt me. But what I would say is if you go to the average Trump supporter and you were to say, "Hey, I voted for Kamala Harris," just they're going to say to you, "I don't agree with that, but that's your right as an American," and they're going to talk with you about it. And you can see
No, incorrect.
Obviously everyone is an individual, so I can't speak for just every single person and talk in such a blanket statement. But what I would tell you is the average Trump supporter compared to the average Kamala supporter is much willing to hear someone out, is much more willing to understand and listen to other ideas versus the average liberal person. If you don't agree with them, they'll shut you down and they refuse to talk to you or hear any of your...
Again,
that's
hold
what
on.
a bigot
we need to stop here. We need to stop here. No, that's not what a fucking bigot is. Being intolerant of intolerance is not fucking bigotry, okay? You wouldn't say, would you call me a bigot if I said I don't listen to Nazis? Am I all of a sudden a bigot because they have a different belief? They just have a different belief system. And I'm not tolerant of that belief system. Does this make me a bigot?
Well, of course that wouldn't make you a bigot. But
so it's not just being a bigot.
Where does that prove your point?
Stop. I just needed a yes or I needed a yes or no, and thank you for providing the yes or no. Because it does not make you a bigot just to not listen to people's ideas if those ideas are dangerous and fucked up. So here's the thing that I want to get into with you right now. Voting for Donald Trump. Okay. If you supported somebody who has made and done things, by voting for Donald Trump, you supported somebody who told a 10-year-old that he would date her in 10 years. This is somebody that we want? And by voting for Donald Trump, you voted for somebody who quite literally tried to overthrow.
Who specifically are you talking about? Because I want to tell you, Joe Biden is one of the most horrific.
So you can't have the conversation about. So here's the thing: was Joe Biden up for Was Joe Biden up for election against Donald Trump? No, he wasn't. So I don't know what the fuck Joe Biden has to do with it.
There was a Democratic coup.
All you're doing. See what you just did here. See what you just did here. Do you see what you just did here? You can't defend Donald Trump, so now you have to go on the attack for Joe Biden. So don't bring up anybody else. Just defend Donald Trump. Just defend him. Don't bring up anybody else. Don't move to attack somebody else. Just defend Donald Trump.
Right. I agree with you. I agree with you. So let's talk exactly about what we were saying, and then when I decide to respond, if you would give me about 30 seconds, and I'll do the same.
As long as the response is on topic, sure. As long as the response is on topic, sure.
So what is the context of Donald Trump telling a 10-year-old that he would
coming down an escalator? He was coming down an escalator. On the other side of the escalator going up was a 10-year-old. He looked at that 10-year-old and said, "You see her? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years." That's the full context.
Okay. So when was this said? Who was the girl?
What does any of that
things
matter?
Along those lines, because I'm not familiar with the situation, but see, I want to be able to argue. I'm not trying to flex, but let me ask you a question.
I'm sorry. Can you just tell me why does it matter who the girl was?
Because I want to understand if I know the situation already, and I'm not familiar with this situation that you're specifically talking about. So no,
yes,
it didn't matter
because Trump supporters are uneducated. They don't look up this shit about their own candidate. Yes, you want me to play you the clip? I'll play you the clip.
No. Please just give me 1 second to talk. It's not that I don't look up the things up about my own candidate. I'm very educated. It's because there are so many false accusations against this man that as a Republican, you cannot keep up with it all because it's all lies and bullshit. And it's all something that's force-fed down our throat. And if I were to keep up with every single lie told about that man, I would have gone crazy years ago. And so I would like to ask you something that because I'm not familiar with what you're talking about with this 10-year-old girl.
Let's play it again.
But let's say
I got you.
What about?
I got you. Hold on. I got you. Don't worry. I got you. Give me a second. I'm just gonna loop the video so we can just.
And first of all, I do just want to say that I called you a bunch of times, and I'm not even familiar with you as a creator, but I was just going down shorts, and I'd seen you, and I appreciate you answering my call and giving me a platform to voice my opinion. And even though obviously we disagree in a lot of core things, I just want to tell you that I appreciate you hearing me out and allow me to speak on your live stream.
Did you hear that?
No, play it one more time if you don't mind.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Well, I mean, like I say, I'm not sure what the exact situation was, but it sounds much more lighthearted in a joking manner than what I would.
I'm sorry. What situation is it okay for a 40-year-old man to tell a 10-year-old that they'll be dating them in 10 years? What situation is that ever okay?
Sir, I just don't know anything about the context of the situation.
I just played you the whole context.
I'm not able to defend that specific instance. But,
okay, great.
But
that's all I need to know.
Let me ask you. Okay, so I would like to ask you a few things. If you'd like to bring things up, I want to bring something up that's very well known knowledge, because you keep bringing up these small known things that are not. That I don't know
that this video has.
Bring this up.
This video has millions of views, so I don't know how I would call that not well known, but okay, go ahead.
Well, anyways, what I would like to say, what do you have to say? And I know that you had said that Joe Biden wasn't running against Kamala, but I want to give this specific example of what your thought process is on this. What do you say about it being proven that Joe Biden was embezzling money through a Ukrainian gas company through Hunter Biden while he was in office?
It wasn't proven. The Republicans, hold on, I know what you're talking about. The Republicans even created a committee to look into this, and you know what they found? Nothing, because it wasn't proven. The Republican committees.
There's literally a video of it. You just pulled up a video of what you're talking about with Trump, which like I say is I don't know the context between, but this whole Ukrainian thing, it has been proven. There's a video of Biden saying that he was going to fire the prosecutor unless they dropped the charges against his son, the Ukrainian prosecutor.
No, That's not what happened. The Ukrainian prosecutor was going to get fired if specific stipulations weren't met, because that's what Senate and Congress pushed for Ukraine. They gave Congress and the Senate gave specific stipulations.
No, they were
You don't know what you're talking about, dude.
of dollars,
You
and
don't know
Biden
what
said
you're talking
they weren't
about.
going to fund them. This was
You
before
don't
the
know
war.
what
This
you're
was
talking
before
about. Like, it's just fucking
Dude.
embarrassing, dude.
Bro, okay, let's just break it down to the very, very basics. Okay.
Here we go.
I
Hold
just
on.
wanna tell you
Really
that.
quickly. I just want to wait.
Joe Biden,
Wait. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm going to talk right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk. What you're talking about is literally the firing of Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin. And Viktor Shokin, the fiction that was created, specifically was created by Rudy Giuliani, by the way, is that Biden called for him to resign if he didn't help get Hunter Biden, whatever. Incorrect. The actual information is that this was when Joe Biden was vice president. He wasn't even president at the time. He was vice president.
Correct.
He led a bipartisan international coalition. He led a bipartisan, which means it was done by both Dems and Republicans. Like, both of them wanted this to happen. Okay, which was a coalition that called on Ukraine to address the corruption that the prosecutor was doing. The prosecutor's office was corrupt, and Biden led a joint committee with both Republicans and Democrats. And both Republicans and Democrats agreed that this prosecutor is corrupt. And so they said to Ukraine, they said, hey, Ukraine, in order to continue, I'm not done. They said, hey, Ukraine, in order to continue receiving aid from us, this wasn't related to this was different aid, but in order to receive aid from us, you need to fire this prosecutor because he's corrupt. And they said, okay. Like, again,
now let me ask you a question, and it's a yes or no question, just yes or no. Was Hunter Biden being paid by this Ukrainian gas company? Yes or no?
Yeah, because he did work for them. But I don't know
so
what Hunter Biden is doing.
was working for the. Do you hear yourself right now? Do you hear yourself right now?
What was Hunter Biden's job?
Dude, come on! You're telling like that is crazy.
What was Hunter Biden's job? What did he do for a living?
Hunter Biden was working for this Ukrainian gas company.
What did Hunter Biden do for a living? What did he do for a living?
Bro, he lives off of his dad's career and is a crack addict for a living.
He has a job, stupid.
What
he had a job.
mean?
What was the job? He had 2 jobs. What were the jobs?
Bro, if you're trying to argue
you're
that Hunter
uneducated,
Biden
dude.
should have been on this Ukrainian gas company board, you are
so uneducated,
crazy.
Dude. You're so uneducated.
You are crazy.
You're so uneducated. It's fucking embarrassing.
I'm not even looking in the thing, but I bet if you looked in the comments of your chat right now,
I don't give a fuck what the comments say. I could
Hunter
care
Biden
less.
Definitely deserves to be on the Ukrainian gas board,
and
it's much more likely that he was doing work for them than embezzling.
Give
money.
Evidence.
That doesn't
provide evidence. This is the fuck shit that y'all do all the time. Trump supporters do this constantly. Provide fucking evidence.
No,
any
evidence.
I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear anything except I don't want to hear anything except you providing evidence. Go ahead.
Okay. This is my question.
I don't want to hear questions. I don't want to hear questions. I want evidence. I don't want questions.
This is what I
don't want questions. I want evidence.
Do you think Hunter Biden was qualified to be on the board?
Not evidence.
That's not. You're not answering my question. Was Hunter Biden qualified to be working for them?
What qualifications do you need to sit on a board? What qualifications do you need to sit on a board? What qualifications do you need to sit on a board?
You think he was doing tens of millions of dollars worth of work?
This is so fucking stupid. You can't answer a single fucking question. Every time I ask you a
question, you're not answering my question.
Because your question is stupid as fuck, dog.
What
qualification? What qualifications do you need to sit on a board? You said, well, do you think he's qualified to sit on a board? So tell me, what qualifications does someone need to sit on a board?
The qualifications that he needed was his daddy was the corrupt vice president
you can't
of the
fucking
US,
answer a question.
Ukrainian gas
you can't answer a question because you have no evidence.
That was
you can't answer a fucking question. Exactly. You can't answer a fucking question, bro.
I'm telling you, he didn't have no damn qualifications.
What qualifications did he need to have?
Bro, he probably would need to be involved in the industry to some degree, and what I want to tell you is that he obviously has done certain things in his life for work, and I'm not sure exactly what they are, but anyone with half a mind knows that motherfucker does not.
You
He is
can't answer the
not.
question, dog.
He
It's
is not
fucking
worth tens
embarrassing.
of millions of dollars, and he
You
should not be on
can't
a
answer the
Ukrainian
question.
board for a gas company
You
under those
can't
circumstances,
answer
with his
the
dad being
question.
vice president, getting paid millions of dollars under the
Except he
table.
didn't.
And if you
Except it
think
wasn't
that
under
was
the
legit,
table.
you're
It wasn't
lying.
under the table. It was a check. We even have the check. So it wasn't under the table. Try again.
Bro, okay,
Exactly.
so let me ask you
Fucking
a question.
Christ,
So
bro.
what
You
about
guys
the
are so
video to
fucking
where
stupid.
Biden says, what about the video to where
Here we
Biden
go
says,
again.
well,
Is
they were
Biden
going to
president?
charge
Is
my...
Biden president right now? What the fuck do I give a fuck about Biden right now? If Biden, here, let me answer this real simply. I'm going to answer this
they're
real
all
fucking simply.
together,
I'm going to
man.
answer this
It's
real
all
fucking
the
simply.
same.
I'm going to answer this really simply. If Republicans find proof, because they haven't yet, because they've had the committees and they've admitted they haven't found proof yet, but if Republicans find proof that Biden is doing crimes, throw his ass under the jail. I don't give a fuck.
Bro,
care.
his crooked dad has already pardoned him, so you can't do nothing, unfortunately.
Wait, if he was
But
pardoned, what does that mean?
All that I'm
What does
saying
that
is,
mean
for
if
the
he was
sake of the
pardoned?
debate,
What does that mean if he was pardoned? It means that he was in
Bro,
jail, right? It means that they found evidence of him doing something bad and they put him away. What was he arrested? By the way, what was he charged with? What was the reason why Biden had to pardon him?
You can pardon someone for crimes they haven't been charged with yet.
He was
that
charged
they're-
with
that they're
something. You were
possibly
so
being charged with.
uneducated. He was charged with something. What was it?
I know he was charged with something, but I'm
What
just
was
saying
it?
that
Why
you
don't
can
you know?
pardon someone for crimes that they haven't been charged
It's
with
so
yet.
funny to me, bro. You know 5% of every topic. You only know about 5% of any given topic.
Bro,
and you can't fucking substantiate anything past
get into
this.
nitty-gritty details, and when everyone
The
doesn't know the nitty-gritty
The
details,
nitty-gritty
then
is
you
what's
think you're
fucking
making
important.
a fool of them,
Nitty-gritty?
but you won't answer
Nitty-gritty?
the simple questions I'm asking.
Gritty, because you won't clarify. I'm sorry. If I were to tell somebody, yo, do you like cars? And I only like certain types of cars. Wouldn't I clarify and go, well, what type of car are we talking about here?
Look, so
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'll go with you and just say you're right on everything you're saying. That I'm not providing evidence.
Thanks.
That I'm not doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is the
Absolutely
question I
right.
want to ask you. You legitimately think Hunter Biden was doing millions of dollars worth of work for this Ukrainian gas company?
How
You
much
think that?
specifically? How much money specifically did Hunter Biden receive?
That's not what I asked. That is not what
That's
I
what
asked.
I'm
See, there
asking
you
you.
go again, making me bring the exact nitty gritty details.
Answer
I
the
know it was
question.
more than I know it was millions upon millions of dollars. That's all I need.
Answer the question.
Do you think he was worth that? Do you think that he was getting paid that legitimately
can't
working
answer the
for this
question.
Ukrainian gas company?
Hey,
Yes or no?
Why just answer me this, because maybe you're just
No, but
you're just dumb.
okay. Anyways,
why do you
look, brother,
believe
I'm
he
about
made
to
the
have
money?
to-
Why do you believe he made that money? Where was the evidence that he made the money?
Bro, he made the money
Based on
because
what?
he gets
Based
the
on what
loyalty of the sitting vice
No,
president
based
of
on
the
what
US
evidence
at the
did he
time.
actually receive the money? Because what's funny is the reason we thought he made the money is because there was an FBI informant who was told the FBI, oh, he made $5 million doing this. And then, you know what's even funnier? That FBI informant was charged with making it up. He was caught lying about it. And he was charged with literally lying.
I'm saying is
everything you're saying is
proven
fucking
fact.
stupid.
It is
You're dumb.
proven
Fuck off. I hate people. This is so fucking crazy. You're stupid. Capital S, stupid. Oh my God. An FBI informant has been charged with fabricating a multi-million-dollar bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden, his son Hunter, and a Ukrainian energy company. You want to know how we found out he was lying? You guys want to know how we found out he was lying? You want to know how we found out? It was via the Republican impeachment inquiry. The Republicans found out he was lying. This is what I'm talking about.